Welcome to Beauty Boss Millionaire. I'm your host, Falicia Fracassi. The objective to this podcast is to help entrepreneurs protect their business when you have others looking in on the recipe. Now, this is a tough episode because many of you all will never see this coming until it's too late. But that's why you have me here to help you out, to be your guide throughout this whole entrepreneurship journey. And I've seen it happen many of times, especially living in New York City where people are ruthless. They'll copy your ideas. They'll set up a shop right across the street from you right after you teach them the whole game. And it can be really hurtful. It can actually feel like betrayal. So to protect yourself, we're going to go through a few things. But first, I want to tell you of an example of a situation where this happened. I had a good friend of mine who had a fire safety business in New York. And he was doing really, really good, making over $150,000 a year. I think maybe more. I want to say it was $300,000 a year. That's after he paid everything and everyone, had over 50 employees, doing really, really good. It was just like this law in New York required that no building could be left alone unless you had a security guard. So he basically subcontracted security guards at a certain rate, and then he just, did whatever he did to up the rate. And what ended up happening was his friend, who he thought was his friend, one day wanted to see what he was doing. So he invited him over and they were like, yeah, this is what I do, blah, blah, blah. And he even showed him the whole marketing plan. And now you probably could say, oh, that was silly of him. But sometimes when we're excited about an idea and we're happy to tell other people, you'd be surprised how many people aren't happy for you and want what you have. And jealousy is a real thing. Jealousy will attach itself onto anything. There's no explaining of why people are jealous, but it's like insecurities with themselves, or they want what you have. It's just the weirdest thing to me because I've never been a jealous person. I've always been happy when other people rise because, that's really what we should do. We should be supporting each other. But anyways, soon this guy became my friend's competition, and they both had a business, and they were both on the top of the search on Google pages. And what ended up ultimately happening was my friend had to stop their business because the competition was so crazy. This guy took it up a notch. Like, it's the same thing with Facebook. There was the Zuckerberg twins, and there was obviously the guy who we all know who started Facebook allegedly. We still never know who really started it, but if you watch the movie on this whole Facebook story, they are claiming, and they actually were credited for originally starting this idea. But I really want you to be careful who you bring around you. There's always a Smeagol, there's always a Judas in the bush. And it's unfortunate because it shouldn't happen, but it happens every day. So to prevent those things from happening, it's really important that you have them sign a non-compete or a non-disclosure, or even an IP acknowledgement. IP acknowledgement stands for intellectual property acknowledgement, meaning that you're telling them, look, this is intellectual property, and you are not allowed to do anything with this information. With the non-competes, you can say, look, you have a lawyer draft this up for you. I can't give you the draft because it's so specific to your business. You need to write in there. If it's a recipe, you need to write that recipe in there and saying that they cannot copy any type of food, that they cannot open up a store, that they can't even compete against you within, let's say, a 40-mile radius over 3 years' time from termination, or whatever it is. You just need to protect your business, because I am telling you, people are so envious and so jealous. They'll do anything they can do to be you because they're not creative enough to think of what they want to do. They lack creativity. And so they just try to mimic what you're doing. And a lot of times it's simply just greed and money. And, I had my own assistant who tried this. She didn't get very far, but she actually tried to open up a whole operation, market to my employees. And she was literally so close to me. And it was strange because I was like, well, why are you doing this? And we had to get our lawyers involved. It was pretty nasty. But, this is a different world. This is not patty cake baker's world. This is like real life. This is Monopoly. And you're going to have to fight back with fire. And it's important that you get these documents in the very beginning before you go in so far and you don't have anything to cover you. Have them sign it, get it notarized, because people will say, oh, I don't remember signing that. Actually, you do. Here's your copy. I'm telling you, have your lawyer type up something to be able to legally make sure that these people aren't doing anything. You probably can say, oh, I'll never do that. That's my cousin or my mom. Or you be careful. Okay. Let me tell you something. People never suspected Judas to be the one, not Judas, and look, it was him. So just remember that you never know who's going to do what. I'm a New Yorker. I'm always thinking somebody's up to something anyways, because, to be honest, they probably are. And probably me just being raised in my family. I don't know if your family's like this, but usually in the culture of the Black folks, which is my people, we don't give out the recipe to anything until it's, and I mean actual food recipe is what I'm referring to, until someone's gone and died. And next thing you know, you see the recipe book under the bed somewhere or in the cooking cabinet where no one knew it was at. My lovely aunt in business, she always told me, hey, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's your husband. Like she's crazy. She's being silly. She's like, don't tell no one your recipe. Don't tell anybody what you're doing. And I thought that was so funny because, you have to just be so guarded. You never know who's going to turn on you, and you'd be surprised who the person is. And it's unfortunate, but you have to keep yourself protected. And I really mean this. Even designers, they're careful who they show their material to. Even with the rappers, there's something going on where someone leaks a beat, and next, the other rapper's using the beat, and it's like this ultimate betrayal. Then there's beef between the two for years, and they make up and they get into a rap fight. My point is that you have to be guarded with your material and your business. So make sure you keep everything on the low until you're ready to release it and you're all protected. Patents are something that you also may want to do if you have some type of invention that is very unique and could possibly be taken from somebody. So make sure that you get your stuff patented. It may take some money, a few $1,000s. It's not always quick right away, but because it has to go through clearings and different levels up. But it's important that you get something patented and trademarked if that's something that you're going to do. I have several trademarks that I have with my companies. So it's important that you have that as well. And lastly, I want to mention that even though you do all these things and have them sign all this paperwork, sometimes people are just going to steal your idea anyways. They'll steal your idea. And it's unfortunate, but it happens. The only thing you can do is keep going and try to be the best and, make sure that you're on your A game. You're listening to The Beauty Boss Millionaire with Falicia Fracassi.
That's it for today at Beauty Boss Millionaire.